Welcome to Money Convos, where we discuss personal finance and investment tips. We're committed to helping people create wealth and achieve financial freedom. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Clubhouse, and Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube and podcast. All right then, let's head into today's conversation.
Big Adam, good evening. How are you doing?
Hello, Elikem. I'm good. Oh, yourself?
I'm great. And a good evening to all our audience listening all over the world. Charlie, no midweek service today.
No, last week it was Easter convention. That's why.
So you people chop the Easter finish.
You know, see.
Charlie, the Easter came and went. I barely felt it.
Can you imagine?
Come to think of celebrations. I don't know if this is a celebration, but there's an eclipse coming up next week. Is it next week, Monday?
Yeah. I think I saw something like that.
Okay. Do you know if it's going to pass through Ghana?
I doubt, because nothing has been mentioned on the news here.
That's sad.
It was an American TV station or something that I saw their Facebook. I think ABC or something. I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Because I remember. Do you remember the last time we had the eclipse?
Oh yeah, 2006.
Yeah,
I remember it so well.
Charlie, I remember exactly where I was. I was back in Jack and Jill school, primary school. I was in 2006. I was in JSS. Yeah. I remember exactly the hallway in the school that I was. Where were you?
Oh, I was at the time. That was my gap year before going to university. So. When you at that time I was studying I was doing a course at Kofi Annan Institute of the ICT Institute. So at that time I don't know why I kept saying that my second career was supposed to, I should have been a programmer or something. At the time, Charlie, I was learning C and Java and stuff like that.
Charlie, that's so. Speaking of a second career, I'm taking a course in Python, and man, it's so fun. It gets tricky. Yeah, but I just this week, Charlie, this artificial intelligence thing, it's crazy.
Wow, Charlie,
you can be more efficient. I think it can make our lives more enhanced if we take it seriously. Because it's good Dennis has popped in here. You know, our Twitter issues and our recordings and things, and I had to do some work. I had to do some work with regards to we to download our recording. Now we have to download our whole entire data dump. That's like 3.6 gig stuff. You get me? And then all the spaces come, and Twitter has a weird way of naming them. So I had to figure out which particular audio, and the format it comes is not the normal audio format, so it will slow down the computer and blah blah blah. I was like, okay, then I'm gonna make a list of all the recordings that there are, so that next week when the new ones come, I just look for the new name. I started copying and paste. I do like I'm renaming the file, then I copy and I paste it in an Excel. I was like, nah, Charlie, this is 2024. We can't be doing this kind of this kind of hard work like this. I want to add some smart to the thing. You understand? So then I went inside I just went to Microsoft Copilot. You understand? I think that one connects to GPT-4.
Yeah.
Exactly. What's this one? What's this thing called? ChatGPT is for the public is on 3.5, but Microsoft Copilot uses 4.0.
Copilot has been asking me plenty questions on my laptop, and I've been ignoring.
Oh, Charlie, it's powerful. It's powerful. In fact, I've dogged ChatGPT. It's very powerful. What I love about it is it gives you sources so that everything, Charlie, there are facts behind everything. And I even realized you can even download the whole chat in a Word or PDF, and it lists all the sources. And Charlie, Charlie, there are levels to this thing. Levels to it. But anyway, so when I went into the co-pilot, then I was like, nah, I'm also learning Python. There must be a Python code. So I used the co-pilot instead of going to do a long Google search. Use the co-pilot to search. Give me a code that can list all the files, the file names in a particular folder. But he gave me the code. No time. In no time, I got the code. I was like, wow. I went in, loaded my Python things, entered the right file folder location, and my list of 87 files was just written there. Copy and paste it into Excel. Guy, if you don't like this, what else do you like? Artificial intelligence has really come to make our lives easy. No.
You know,
and enhance our productivity. Imagine the rate of productivity we will have these days.
Yeah.
Just think about if you have to learn something quick, then you go on YouTube, you Google all those things. But this one will quickly summarize. In fact, let's move on. In fact, I'm sure if we enter Copilot, give me how I can become, how to get rich. In fact, let me type it in Copilot right now. How can I become rich? And I put it in there. I'm sure it will give you all the things. Wow, financial education is number 1. Budgeting and saving is number 2. Number 3, invest wisely. Entrepreneurship. Oh, no. It's giving me 10 things to do. Oh, my. Anyway, let's get on with today's conversation. The artificial intelligence is just busting my brain over here. I just hope it doesn't take my job soon. Anyway, I see Dennis in the audience. I've sent you a request to come up. Feel free to join us up here. Okay, so Charlie, Adam, we are on episode 4 of our series. A series that we are taking so long. We are not binging it at all. It's not Netflix and chill. And it's by our main man, Ramith. A few weeks ago, we burned him fire small, but he's still a guy. He's still a guy. Only love over here.
Yeah.
So many people are doing so many things in the space.
Exactly.
Yeah, so everybody, we praise people for what they do, and then we critique the things that's critical, should I say.
Yeah.
Anyway, so any initial thoughts on this particular episode 4 before we get into certain specific themes?
Yeah, I think for this episode, for me, it was a bit refreshing because you could see people make progress. These are people who had been put on, like they had started their program, and now they are making some kind of progress, and it was for me it was nice to see.
Yeah, that's true. It's good to see the progress that people are making. I like the way the show, as it goes on, it introduces new people, and then it's like some of the people who started have fallen off. You remember the woman who was spending a lot of money, the supposedly rich woman. She was nowhere in this episode, but
exactly.
I like the flow of characters in and out. And speaking of progress, remember that couple that fought at the end of the second episode, the first episode?
Yeah.
And they wanted to drop out of the thing. Now they are back. Oh my, it's such a wonderful love story, eh?
True.
All right, so we'll get in there. Dennis, are you there?
Yes, bro, Fabian.
Wonderful. How you doing, man?
I'm good,
I'm okay. This one we're going to do like a local radio station and get closer to the mic, and then lower the radio behind in your background. Just messing with you. Anyway, Dennis, any initial thoughts for us before we delve into certain themes? Okay, I think Dennis is still at work and trying to excuse himself. So let's get on with it. Or Dennis, are you back? Okay, all right. So Adam, a few thoughts. If the show started off with something that we spoke about some weeks ago, money dates.
Yeah.
How do you think that particular money date went?
Yeah, I think that particular date went well. You could see that now the couple were communicating better. They seemed to, when they said they were trying to, I think, remember the last time they both went out, and they seemed not to be able to remember. And I think the woman retorted that the fact that they can't remember means that it's been too long. So I think that portion for me was like something that I loved to see, because now they were coming together and making discussion. Like, they were not talking at each other now. They were now talking to each other. And the dates seemed to, like, they were bringing out some of the issues. You could see that, for example, the woman still had some issues with how some of the purchases the man was making. And I mean, back and forth. But I think this whole episode in general, I just like the fact that the couples in the episode seem to now be communicating with each other. And there was a comment that I think was the guy's name. I've forgotten but he was saying that, look, it wasn't an easy road, but they seem to be able to, I think that's Donnell, yeah. I was saying it had not been an easy road, but that dates and all those things was helping to make things better for them. So I think for me, that's the dates they had, it came off nicely for me that they were now working through something together, and you could see them working together like a team. Yeah.
Yeah, their communication was so beautiful, and their whole process gives hope. It gives hope to people who feel like having this conversation about money with my partner is so difficult. I don't want to do it. You put it off, put it off, put it off. Like in the beginning, there was struggle, and not just this one, the other couple too. Like in the beginning, there's always a struggle, and it will take time. In fact, during this episode, there was a point at which I thought it was going to go sideways, and it's on the theme of like when you call out your partner on something, right? Because the lady called her husband out on his expenditure, like you mentioned, and he started by being defensive. And I was like, oh boy, is it going down again? You know?
Yeah.
And then the woman, she managed to handle the situation well. She was like, no, I'm not saying we are broke because of your decisions. No, I'm saying that we are broke because of actions we took in the past. And now we've agreed to be taking certain actions to correct that in the future. Something around those lines. And then the guy also, he did well to just recover and be more positive from that place, from that point, and then own it, you know. So it just like it's about accountability, right? If you need to make people accountable, make your partner accountable, and also as someone receiving the feedback, it's tough. It feels some type of way, but just because you feel some type of way doesn't mean the whole matter should scatter. You know, you shouldn't make it tough. Like, okay, sit in the uncomfortableness, but ask yourself, okay, how do we rescue it? How do we move on from here? And how do we turn this into a positive thing? And I feel like both of them did a really good job with that. And we can see that things are going down well. She was impressed by him now saying, look, he's now on board to sell a lot of the junk he had in storage. Now that's money that they'll get back. That's space that they'll free in their lives. And also they are paying rent for that storage unit every month. Was it $120 a month or so? That's money that they can just keep to themselves rather than spend that money, you know. So yeah, I like that aspect of their conversation. Another thought on this couple before we move to the other couple, a few themes came up. One is like the man said, well, I grew up poor, all right? And he made a very good distinction about poverty and being broke. He said when he was growing up, they were poor. They didn't even have to talk about finances because there were no finances. Man, that's tough. But now he's making income, but he's broke because of all the debts and how much payments he has to make. And now he feels like, well, I used to be poor. Now I'm earning an income. If I want something, I'm just going to get it, right? So it talks about discipline. It's bringing up issues about delayed gratification. And most importantly for me, I'm like, how often do we as individuals sit down and say, yeah, there's money in my account, but can I afford to spend it on the thing I want to spend it on? Yeah, you see money, but can you just spend it anyhow? That's a question. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that whole process is very, very important for us as individuals. That the whole delayed gratification and like making very wise decisions about our money. Even if we have the money, is that what we have planned to use it for? Is that what does it fit within the goals that we have set for ourselves or the boundaries we have set for ourselves? I think all those things are important questions that we need to ask ourselves as we move along. I think if we remember when we're talking about the issue of budgeting, we talk about the fact that we need to be reviewing whatever we do. So that process of review is also important, and having those conversations with ourselves is good, because you can lie to everybody else, but if you start to lie to yourself, then you are in a bigger mess than we have actually got to deal with. So it's important to be able to have that honest conversation with yourself, and then flowing from that, when you make those reviews, you can then take some corrective steps going forward.
Yeah, don't lie to yourself. You have the budget, you make the budget, and then you follow the budget. Let it guide you. You made it. You made your own map, planning your route to where you want to go to. So just follow it. Don't lie to yourself. I like that point. Okay, so let's switch over to the other couple. The couple that we mentioned that in end of episode 1, early episode 2, they were fighting about this whole money issues. It was the woman who was the breadwinner, the man was a stay-at-home dad, and a few things that came up. The first thing that came up is I liked the way the woman's posture had changed. Now, clearly, anyone watching this would realize that some work was done in the background, because I felt like, wow, these people have grown so much, but they did some work in the background. They must have done some counseling or something, but now they are acting like people who love each other, talking nicely to each other. And the woman said something. Because the guy paid attention, even though he didn't handle the money, he noticed certain things that the woman didn't notice, certain details, certain expenses that were leaking here and there. The woman said she respects him for that. She respects what he does. And that was quite profound. What do you think?
It's interesting that that also struck and got your attention, because I myself, that was a part that I noticed that, hey, the woman's attitude just seemed to have changed. Not much had changed in terms of their circumstances, in terms of probably how much they were earning and all that. The roles were still the same, where the man was like the stay-at-home dad and the woman is the breadwinner. But now they were looking at things differently. And like you said, it seems like they had that background counseling and everything. And now you had a situation where they were working together like a team. They were not talking at each other. They were talking to each other, like I said, just like in the first example. Now they were talking together. They were viewing their finances as a couple, not as two individuals. And that statement she passed about the fact that even though it wasn't like as though he was bringing in certain money, but now he was noticing, it looks like at first he had a kind of nonchalant attitude, in the sense that what's happening, well, she earns the money, she determines how it is spent, she's the one who moves about everything, and he just seemed to be like, well, because I'm the stay-at-home dad and I'm the one taking care of the kids and everything, he was just probably just minding. But now that he seemed to be interested in the details, where, oh, you left out this thing in the plan, oh, you didn't allocate money to this, that whole process now was making the woman feel better, and she felt like, oh, okay, it looks like her respect for the man sort of like soared. You could see that this whole working together has helped her respect the man much more than, because the first episode, if you watch those two people, it was such a contrast seeing the two of them again now, because now they were working together. And even though not much, I should say not much in terms of how much they are earning had changed, but because their outlook and how they were approaching matters had changed, their approach had changed. Everything seemed to look like they had gone sort of like maybe 360 or 180 degree into a different direction. So that for me was also was one of the things I liked about this episode, where I could see that it looked like at the beginning of the series, these people were virtually just a few maybe meters away from a divorce, because things had broken down so badly. But to see how they have turned around, for me, it was something that was lovely. Yeah.
Oh yeah, me too. I thought that in cast. was like, wow, this is gonna be epic on the show. I thought it really cast, So it brings the hope for couples, man. It's a really inspiring thing. Trying to keep the details light, but I hope this inspires someone. If you've not watched this show yet, go watch it. And if you're having challenges with how you communicate to a partner, this will give you the hope. Of course, like these things happen over the next couple of episodes. And if you're binge watching it, you think, well, in a few minutes, they turn things around. I'm sure there's a lot of background work that was done. So I wouldn't for once try to make it look like it's easy. They did talk about how in the beginning talking about these things was uncomfortable, but they realized that it wasn't so much even about the money again. It was an issue about communicating. And the more they talked, the more they communicated, the more comfortable they were. And so it's really about the exercise of doing it. Just practice, the communication. And communication is something that really will benefit you in any aspect of your life, as long as you are not living on an island or dealing with nobody. Once you have to deal with people and you improve your communication, it'll help you in many aspects of your life. So yeah, I'm really happy about the hope. And we are just in episode 4. I think there are a total of 8 episodes in here. So I guess the only way is up. All right. So that was that couple. There are 2 more subjects that a lot more attention was paid on in this episode. There was a Frank. Frank just came in there, and I could relate to Frank on the loan side. He has close to $237,000 dollars in loans. But I can't relate to him on his income. Yeah, but yeah, his income is well above the average in America, and he's just he's YOLOing all day, every day, spending money, blowing money fast, and he had won a game show, so he had a lump sum of he had received 75,000 so far. He was left with just 20,000, so he's just living good. And then what do you think about Frank? Does his situation ring a bell for like anyone else or something?
Oh, I think a number of people find themselves in Frank's situation where they are earning a lot of money, but at the same time, they spend a lot. I think the statistic for him was that he was raking in, I think, averagely $9,000 a month, but his expenses were averaging about $12,000 or so a month. So here is somebody this is somebody who had multiple streams of income, not just a salary. He was on a salary, he was doing therapy, and then he was also an influencer. So, I mean, this is what we have been preaching all along on Money Convos, and Investment Friend will be telling you, and all the finance people. So he's doing good on the income side, but some way, somehow, that was not his problem. I think when Ramith was questioning his friends, the theme that ran through was that he lacked discipline. And that was the big problem that he had, where, yes, so much money can come in, but it does not translate into the fact that you would be prudent in your expenses. And I think a number of people find themselves in that category where they are really making good money, but unfortunately, because of their lack of discipline or poor choices, and all of that, they end up in a deficit. So the fact that he's spending 12,000, meaning that he's getting into a debt, trying to sustain the lifestyle that he had. And then he makes a windfall that's winning about 150,000, but he was paid 75,000. And he could not account for what he did with the money. All he knows is that he's left with 20,000. He just couldn't pinpoint and say, oh, maybe I did X or Y thing to further maybe my goals and my aspirations. But virtually, like you said, he was just on a YOLO. And you see that he's somebody who has very nice taste for luxury goods. So he said what he did was he just went on a shopping spree, and you could see him with his friends and everything. I could see that he's the type of person who would want to. Oh, he's like your typical chairman here.
El Chairmano.
El Chairmano. when he goes on the outing, the bills are on him, Yes, but and when he was asked that do his friends know how much he earned, it then hits him that really it's not something that they've even asked him or discussed, but they just know that he's the one who spends a lot of money. And for them to basically have that same theme to say that, look, he is not disciplined with his money, then it's something that the good thing for me is that he also realized that he had an issue, he had a problem. Okay, especially when he realized this windfall that he had made, he couldn't tell where the money had gone. And then he just realizes just one day that he's left with $20,000 out of 75. Then the wake-up call counts because he realizes he'll be receiving another 75 soon, and he cannot be in the same position that he has been in all this while. Yeah.
Yeah, Charlie. It's when you there's this term that I like, Henry. When they say someone is a Henry, high earner, not rich yet. HENRY. High earner, not rich yet. He's, like you said, he's doing good on the multiple streams of income, and yet he's not building wealth. It's one thing to make high income, it's another thing to build wealth. And the equation is all about how much you keep to yourself. As you make the income, you need to make sure that you are spending way less than the income so that you can keep the difference and let it grow. And that's where he realized that he lacked. And it also gets me thinking about why people put off things in their financial health, like drawing a budget or even understanding their financial position in the first place. They put off these things because some people feel, oh, I'm not rich yet, I'm not there yet. When I blow, then I'll start doing these things. But these are habits that you need to build. He talked about how his background got him to this point. He lost his parents, and when his mother died, he started receiving like insurance checks every month, and he was just blowing through that, to comfort him. And he got into a point he realized that all those things, it's not worked out for him. So he has to fix it. Like sometimes you need, if you don't fix this thing, 5 years down the line, you look back and go like, wow, so much money passed through my hand. So much money. How much of it did I keep? So for anyone, regardless of which situation you are in right now, you have a chance to stop the flow. And how do you stop the flow? Ali, Adam, when I look especially at how people live here, the debt side, I think we in Ghana won't even relate so much because we don't like borrowing like that and we don't have access to credits like that. Though there are some people who like borrowing, but the average person is really about living hand to mouth and then enjoying small and then putting some away. But thinking about the way our society is going right now and the way social media and keeping up with the Joneses, and people like to enjoy life. People really like to enjoy life. And so it becomes an issue of at what point do you know that, this particular enjoyment is more than budget? Are you setting yourself, okay, every weekend, it is just 200 Ghana, 500 Ghana, that's my budget. And once the money finish, we are going home. Or even if you are staying at home, maybe it's whether it's chicken man, pizza man you order or something, it must not cross a certain budget. Like, enjoy life small, but don't do certain things that will take the budget too far away. Adam, something you can relate. This a man that we've been binge listening to lately, Dave Ramsey. When he says like getting out of debt and starting like building the fundamentals, the baby steps, the first few steps, you don't go on trips. Especially, it's something that a lot of people talk about. Like, people just want to enjoy their lives. Like, you're in your 20s and you want to enjoy your life. It's nice. You're youthful and all, but you can't afford it. You'll be spending all your seeds. The money that you are making right now, there are seeds that you need to grow so that if you do it well, in your 30s, you can start enjoying. If you wait till late, maybe then in your 40s, 50s before you enjoy. But the earlier you sacrifice, you delay the gratification. The earlier you'll be able to start enjoying the fruits of your labor. So people who want to enjoy life so much, go to the fanciest of places, go on trips. Maybe I'm not so crazy about trips, but I know that when trips happen, budgets are blown out of whack. So some people say they are doing it hacks. They have hacks. They got discounts here and there. You got to manage some of these things. Make sure that it's well within what you can afford, and you define affordability realistically. Yeah. So anyway, that's what I think about Frank and his situation. Oh, how's the culture of this chairman thing that you brought up? Are people still paying for people when they go out?
It depends on your circle. Yeah, it depends on your circle. One of the things I liked the most about Money Convos, the day we went, we had our first meetup. Like, I just loved how right from the beginning, it's like there was a concerted effort. We all had the understanding that we are having a hangout and everything. And then when we met, we all just contributed nicely and towards the bill. And that for me was one of the most interesting. I'm not someone who really likes going out already. So, but that for me was very nice because I knew it was not too much a common thing with a lot of people that I know. You go out and then there's a chairman who is sorting everybody out and stuff like that. And people do it. But I think, like you said, in this day and age and with the way the economy is going, I think we should all realize that, look, when we are going out to a place, especially if it's a group of people, we should all learn to contribute towards something. And if you can't, and I personally don't like to go out to some places because maybe at the time you call me, I don't think I am financially or having planned towards it. So, and I don't like the idea of going and then I'm just going to order this and that and that, and then somebody else is paying. I feel some way about it. That's me. Some people don't feel anything, and that's fine. But for me, I feel some way. So I would like to at least contribute something towards what I'm spending. So that whole spending out large, I think for some people it makes them feel good. And just like in the case, this our guy's case, there was an underlying, money teaches us so much about people. And that's why Ramith will always tell you that he can basically describe the kind of person he's yet to meet just by going through their financial information. So money really speaks a lot about people. So some people, there's an underlying issue, and for our guy in the series, his was pain from losing his father at 5 or so, and then by the time he was 13 or 14, his mom had also passed away. So that pain and everything, and then he used the insurance money that he was getting every month to sort of like numb that pain spreading. He says he would buy McDonald's for his friends. He would buy this. So sometimes these things are people's escape out of things, but I think that people should weigh it very well so they don't put themselves in a situation where I know some 1 or 2 people who sometimes do these things, and there are times when they are not in the position to, but because they are chairman, they must do show, you see. So they end up finding themselves in a deeper mess than they were in. So this whole thing, try not to impress people. If you can, why not? But you shouldn't stretch yourself just to show, like, it's like you're trying to show that, hey, you are there. But if you cannot, I think you should just say, today we can't go out. You can find something to say, but not stretch yourself just so that your friends, then they are fine. And then in the end, you come back to the house and then you are in a miserable situation. Yeah.
This is when you go back home. That's what they say. Or you have taken sadness to go and sleep. But yeah, I like some of the stuff that you said. All the stuff you said. But a few things that I want to highlight is the kind of company you keep really matters. So if you realize that if you keep hanging out with the Money Convos people, you won't spend too much. That particular outing, we didn't spend much when even Mimi was surprised that we didn't spend much. Because if Mimi thinks it was affordable, it is affordable.
Then it really was affordable.
Oh man, I don't know how prices have changed, but rewind to 2022 in was it Starbites
Yeah,
airport.
somebody, yeah.
So shout out to them. I hope you've not increased prices. Yeah. Anyway, Mimi, Sarah, I see in the audience. Feel free to jump up here if you like. We've missed you up here, so do join us. But we see all the stuff that you people are doing in the background. Speaking of which, quick commercial break, guys. If you are liking what you are listening to, the kind of information we are giving, please follow us, share it, tell people about this, okay? And when you get on Instagram, before you get into the doom loop of scrolling and sticking around there, hit on the magnifying glass, search. Then go and look for investment friend. That is at investment underscore friend. Because over there, they take what we are doing here to the next level. Here we talk, we discuss, we just have conversations as friends talking about money. But there, your investment friend looks at your individual situation and helps guide you to the path that to the destination that you want to go. It's no more general information. It becomes very specific information. And it's a whole community. It's a whole community of people coming together for savings challenges, for financial planning challenges. There's so much support that you get. And the community is just growing and growing and growing. You'll find your people so that you'll always be surrounded by the right people. And hopefully when you go out, you don't have to be chairman and you don't have to incur heavy expense. Maybe a group of people that you find will even say, come home and let's just eat one pizza and then drink some juice, and that'll be all, and it'll be enjoyable. Yes, or you may even be fortunate to have Prince with you, and he'll sponsor some fried rice. That's our chairman. Speaking of which, happy birthday to Prince. He's not with us here. Belated happy birthday to him. His birthday was last Saturday. So I'm sure he's still enjoying it. So that's why he's not here with us. Anyway, and so follow investment friend and also follow Money Convos here. All right, so moving on to the last person before we take just general themes. The last person that came up was in fact, no, before that, while Ramith was talking about Frank and on the benefits of having multiple streams of income, he dropped this. Ramith dropped a certain bar that I like. Yes, we talk about budgets, living under your expenses and all that. But this bar that he dropped, guys, come closer and listen. Take pen and paper. There's a limit to how much you can cut, but there's no limit to how much you can earn. Bars. Let me take that again. There's a limit to how much you can cut, but there's no limit to how much you can earn. So start thinking about how you would generate more income for yourself, and that would be the power you will have to grow your wealth. All right. So speaking of growing your income, switching to Sofina, the last person who was detailed in that particular episode. Right now she's at the point where she's thinking about ways to increase her income. But what's getting her thinking about that? At the start of the series, she bought a house. Young lady, was she 25, 26? She's bought her dream house. But it's coming, well, not a dream house, but like she's lived the dream of owning your own home. She's able to host people, it's a comfort space, all of that, but it's having problems and unanticipated expenses. And Adam has been saying these things. Before you get into a home, there are certain things that you need to look out for. And very soon we'll be coming up with a checklist for people who want to buy or build a home. Maintenance costs, all those things, right? So homeowners association fee is expensive. In Ghana, I know we call it maintenance fee for where you stay. Then she's having some plumbing issues. She's not had hot water in her place for a long time. See, telling you, in Abuja, you need hot water. You know that when I was in Ghana for Christmas, I didn't shower with hot water. Only normal room temperature water. Because the temperature down there in Ghana is nowhere near the Abuja one. You need the hot water. I don't know how she's surviving without it. She's probably using kettle. But anyway, so she's going through it, and she's right at this point. She's like, it feels like a step back. She may have to sell the condo that she got. That's the apartment she got, and she's gonna be a step back. And then, what do you think about this? When somebody has made certain decisions and now they have to take a step back.
Yeah, Elikem, that's her. She was a very good example of. I don't know. I don't think we have too much of that kind of problem here, in a certain sense, where people, especially because as for mortgages, a lot of people are actually out of the range in Ghana to even qualify for a mortgage to start with. So they won't even be able to entangle themselves in a situation like the way she has, where she's going to own a home, but her income is not matching that that thing, that level. She's not yet due. So it was a good thing that she took a step back to try and look at how she can increase her income so she can be able to afford the home ownership, which she has been dreaming of all this while. And I think it's good. It's a good thing to be able to pause and go back, no matter how. And the whole show has been of people who have gotten to a point where they have decided that no, there's something wrong. I need to change course. Some didn't know exactly what it was. All they just knew is that I need to take a turn. So it's that first step is always needed, where you take a step back and then be able to analyze the situation and then make correct or take corrective or remedial steps to be able to get back on track or be able to get on a sound footing. So it's a good thing to be able to pause and then look back and then say, hey, this I need help, or to cry out for help, get help from experienced people who can assist. I think Mimi and Instagram have been doing a good job with people at Investment Friend, helping people to put together their finances and everything. I've seen some of the testimonies and all of that. So it's a good thing to be able to take a step back and look and say, hey, you might have taken the step already. You might have taken a wrong decision already, but it's never too late once you are able to spot it quickly and you're able to retrace your steps. But to say, oh, okay, well, I'm in it already, and then you just be there and then be wallowing in self-pity and not taking an action, would rather make you spiral down more and more and more. And then you get to a point where it will be very difficult to be able to take any corrective step or corrective measure at that point in time. Yeah.
Yeah, a stitch in time saves nine. I keep telling myself this thing in the last couple of weeks because for my bag is torn and I have to fix it. But I've not been fixing it and it's getting worse and worse. But it gets to your point. When we start seeing these problems, we need to nip them in the bud. And if we didn't catch it early, the next best time is to catch it now and start resolving it. For me, I feel like it is a step back. Like her mother was trying to convert her, it's taking a step back. What's important is taking care of you. It's true. It's nice. Let's make it feel good. But the reality is, we need to know how to build slowly. Sometimes people get when people start making a certain level of income, especially when they've never made that kind of income, then they start thinking, oh my God, I could do all these things. And then they go and do it without leaving themselves enough margin. Such that the budget is so tight, everything you're just one catastrophe or one small tremor, one small tremor away from your peace of mind. So it's good that as you build, maybe start small, build a strong foundation. For example, I know a lot of African Americans. Well, I don't have the statistics. I've met a few African Americans who they got out of college and they felt like, oh, I'm making some good money because, well, when they were in college, they were just working some normal restaurant jobs or retail jobs, and now they're in corporate or they're making some good money, and it's a bit above the average. But then they say, I've been picturing a Mercedes Benz all this time. So what do? They go buy Mercedes Benz. Oh boy. There's a reason why in within 3 years, those kind of luxury cars, they lose like 40-50% of their value. So one particular friend, she got the C class and she realized that she could not maintain it. If something happens, some light comes on or something, then she has to send it back to the dealership. And they buy it brand new. It's not even used. Brand new. But Charlie, how much is your income? You are probably spending 30% of your income on the monthly payment. And even that you are stretching the loan for a longer term. Because if you recall from our conversation some weeks back, the longer you borrow for, the smaller the monthly payment you make because they are spreading the loan over a longer time. So eventually, the car is always in the shop. She doesn't have money to repair it, and it's like, no, she has to sell this thing. And it takes some humility to get there because people have seen you in a certain way. They have now put you on a certain pedestal, and you feel like you have to drop from that pedestal. So to anyone who is listening and hasn't yet gotten to the point where you want to do those things, maybe on the precipice, like around this time, I'll be graduating in a few weeks. People who are thinking like come transitioning to a new phase, so around this time, people are getting out of school or maybe thinking about going to school or something. As you transition, think about building strong foundations first. Don't do too much. Leave some margin for yourself. Even just arbitraries, just say, you know what, I'll just sit on it for 1 year. I just manage something small for 1 year. And then after 1 year, you go big. See if that'll be sustainable because things would happen. Some friends were talking about friends in school. When we finish school, let's start doing some real estate. I was like, okay, it's great. It's a good idea. However, let's just gather information for now, and then let's touch base maybe a year after, 6 months to 18 months after school, because we're in a transitional period, right? We have to go figure out some things. Some people will be now trying to get back to taking care of their families, seeing how normal work life is. Let there be a good foundation under us before we start doing some of these things that would be new to us. So I just want to encourage people: build slowly, build strongly. Then when it's time for you to blow, you can do all that you want, knowing that you have the confidence that nothing would, or only a few things can destroy your plan. You are reducing your risk that way. But if you're already in that point, I get them all saying, it's tough. You have to accept the situation, grieve your loss, but have the hope that you fix this and it will get better, because it's better you fix it now than wait till later. The later you wait, the worse it would be. So just some words of encouragement for anyone who's gotten there. Okay, great. So there was some business advice. Did you catch the business advice Ramith gave to the lady about how she should go about thinking about her business or creating extra income, madam?
I think I missed that part.
Okay, let me give you that. I like that because I'm doing an MBA. I was working in investment management before, so people will come up, oh, I'm going to do a business plan. I want to do this. I want to do that, and then I told them, see, when I was analyzing investments, especially private equity or startup businesses, there was one very simple question that we used to ask: how much money have you made so far? How much have you sold so far? And people scratch their heads, but you have the MBA, you're like, let's talk about business plan. I'm like, people like to think entrepreneurship is academic. Sometimes it's really Charlie agronomy, players on the ground. Just go and start selling. Make something that somebody will buy, or deliver a service that somebody will buy. And just start doing it. Just start doing it. And as you are doing it, start thinking about how you can put structures around it. And then to all get built. But some people will be building up wonderful business plans, no action. I met someone recently, and the person was coming up with some really, really interesting, wild ideas. The person has a whole lot of ideas, and I was just shaking my head. I'm like, so many ideas. I wish you had even just one good idea that you were working on. Life would be way better for you. But well, what do I know? I just feel like anyone who is going to assess or anyone who's going to support you in the business will ask, what have you done so far? What actual stuff have you done? Because anybody can have an idea, but the one who is ahead is the one who is already selling. So come up with an idea. Just go try it out. Go try to sell it to somebody and get moving, Don't overthink it. You will make mistakes, granted. If you already have experience in that area, fine. Your learning curve would be better than other people who don't know anything about it. Great. But even if it's something you don't know, be willing, be bold. Just try it. Just do it. Nike. Just do it, right? So yeah, that's rather than doing all that planning and no action, sometimes it even becomes analysis paralysis. So yeah, that was some advice that he gave there. Anyway, so yeah, that pretty much brings it to the end of what I had in mind. Adam, do you have any other thoughts on the episode, on this particular episode we took?
Yeah, I mean, just to mostly about summing up my thoughts generally, which I've said I've noticed, especially for couples, how communication and change of approach of how to handle money issues really just like helps to improve the relationship way, 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 way better than even with people who were on the verge of divorcing and thing, how just turning around and changing their approach and everything has made them become better partners. And so these are the communication is very, very important. So each time, I mean, we have to take that. We cannot emphasize it enough. And even if you are a single person and you are coming up, you need to really put your financial matters in order. It's very, very important that you put everything in order so that you don't end up becoming a burden to somebody else later on in life. Some of these things, they are carryovers from people's single lives and they brought it into their marriages. And if unfortunately these issues are not dealt with, then you become a burden to somebody else later on. So it's very, very important that we take a pause regularly, analyze our whole lives financially. If you've made a big mistake, retrace your steps and then make sure that you are able to come back. And then be willing to admit when you have made a mistake and ask for help. If there's a need to ask for help so that you can be able to come out of the situation rather than be there and then you end up falling deeper and deeper into a problem. So I think that's what I would say concerning that.
I caught a hint of an Ewe accent when you were talking about be willing to admit. Yeah, it's and I know you didn't plan it, but you said it 3 times. And sometimes realizing where the problem is half the battle. That way you can solve it and admitting it to yourself. Let's not lie to ourselves. Let's not lie to other people. Let's admit where there's a mistake and then try to find the solutions to it. For me, I would just encourage everyone to just go watch that. The more I delve into personal finance, the more I keep getting reminded that personal finance has 2 words. It's not just finance, it's also personal. And the personal is way more important than the finance. It's not about the formulas. It's 20% knowledge, 80% behavior. It's about us doing what we need to do. Because you can know everything you need to know. You can know about all the tax loopholes. You can know about the best investments. But if you are not doing anything, if you are not saving anything from what you earn, if you are blowing all your money, if you are investing it too riskily, then you'll really go nowhere. So let's all remember it's about our behaviors, our character, basically action, right? And as we think through this, sometimes we may not know our shortfalls, and watching other people would help us address these shortfalls. So I encourage anyone who hasn't watched the show yet to go watch it. Get on Netflix and look up How to Get Rich. Some of the behaviors you see, this other person, it's always humorous when you see other people doing it. Oh, how could you? How could you? And then you realize that it may be putting a mirror to you in certain areas, and then you can start identifying the problems and start working on it. And it will also give you the tools to fix it. Also, as we've said, it's also behavior. One of the behaviors or some behaviors I would really like for you to have after listening to us today is that first, go and watch this show. 2, follow us here on Twitter. Follow Money Convos on Instagram, Facebook, Get on YouTube, subscribe. Wherever you listen to podcasts, just search for Money Convos. Subscribe over there. Listen to our previous conversations. All right. And last behavior I really, really love, is share. Share. Tell people about this. Tell people where they can go find this kind of information. And also tell them about Investment Friend. I hope you've already followed that on Instagram at investment_friend. So yeah, thank you all for the time. Next week, we will be doing our quarterly review on our goals for the year. So that's the time when we come and hold ourselves accountable. Remember when Eden was talking about accountability a few moments ago? Yes, we set out to do certain things this year, so we are going to account on our progress so far. So same time next week, that Wednesday at 6:30 GMT, we hope to catch you here again. Have a great rest of your week and catch you again next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to our thoughts. I hope you learned a thing or two and start practicing. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Clubhouse, and Facebook. And subscribe to our YouTube and podcast. Do tell a friend about Money Convos so we all become wealthy together. Talk to you soon. Bye.